You're listening to Brigade Radio 1.
Welcome to the Antisocial Show.
They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming to get you.
And here's your hosts, Underblock and Tyson.
Hello. I promise you, there is nothing wrong with my voice or your audio that you're listening to this. I'm trying something new. It's called ASMR. Something to kind of like, de-stress myself at the end of the day with all the crazy nonsense that's going on in the world. Particularly, of course, in Washington. I don't need to get into that, though. But, I have to de-stress. I like to watch YouTube videos. And it's people like, they're eating something or they're making noises like this, And they'll tell you, they'll whisper, like, you will now listen to this sound of clicking. And they do role plays too. Get your minds out of the gutters, you perverts. I don't mean like that.
Okay, enough of that. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Antisocial Show, the only show that believes that you need a little ASMR in your life. I'm Hunter Block, and he's
Tyson Sainer.
Hello, Tyson.
Hello, Hunter.
So I was watching you, and I see that you kind of enjoyed that a little bit. What do you think?
Sure, yeah, I think it's funny. I think it's funny. I'm not a big reactor, depending on what it is. Like something. I don't know. Something has to catch me by surprise sometimes in a specific way, and it's really hard to quantify that to make me laugh out loud. Or I'll work up to laughing, like kind of a chuckle kind of thing. Kind of we'll build on something if there's a. If you'd done that for 15 minutes, at some point you would have definitely got a chuckle out of me, which is a different kind of laugh. It's it's. So yeah, it was amusing. It's what
it is true. I've been watching ASMR videos on YouTube, and you could not believe the lengths that these people go through. They have the proper equipment, like the microphones, the high-end mics, and soundboards and mixers, and obviously they're doing it on a computer, and they're recording themselves doing this. And what I meant by role playing is that you'll see somebody doing pretending to be a doctor, or a hairstylist, or doing your makeup and stuff like that. So it's become this big trend.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, so much that former guest of the show, Cassandra Cardenas, as her character Diane Potts, did a funny ASMR video on her. I think she did it on her YouTube channel, or it was. I don't know if it ended up on her website that she collaborates with the Ladies Lunch Productions or not. But yeah, if you get a chance, you should check that out. It's them pretending to do ASMR, and it's an interesting thing. I don't know that I've ever really listened to an actual ASMR video, and I feel like I should.
You definitely should. It's interesting.
It seems like, because I understand that if it's done just right, it's like you get kind of electric kind of signals dancing in your head and brain and whatnot. And I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's done right, it's actually pretty cool. Now,
I don't even know if that's what's supposed to happen, by the way. What I described is nobody,
a euphoria.
Euphoria.
It's supposed to relax you. Of course, I got to thinking about this. Darth Vader actually could be considered ASMR back in the day unintentionally, because he sounds like, I am your father.
It's very true.
So, yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, does he deserve credit for this? Of course.
I'd say it's possible, sure. I like also he has a sort of, I don't know if he has vocal fry or not. Do you know what vocal fry is?
I do not.
It's something, it's when people talk and then they kind of go down at the end of their voice. And then they up here and then and they sort of drops or like when somebody's like Paris Hilton, she'll do that. She'll be like, they'll be like, a cop says, "Is that cocaine in that bag?" I think it's gum.
Yes.
This white powder is gum. Allegedly. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a thing that people do, and it's it's fine. It's just it kind of had its period of like people pointing it out, and then there was like I think vocal fry shaming happening at some point, and then it's like then some other actually important stuff came up, and people like decided to pay attention to that for a while and forgot about
So the start of
fry.
The start of making fun of vocal fry was because of Paris Hilton.
No, it's just the sound. It's a description of that particular I don't know if it's an affectation. With some people it is, meaning like they do it on purpose to like make other people notice it. Like an interesting pair of glasses or something. But
yes, there was no. Yeah, I said yes, officer. There was no C word back there in my back seat.
Yeah, no, but it's like you're so smart. No, that's not how it goes. You have to like I don't know if there's like vocal fry examples on a YouTube video, but it's and it's fine. It's like it's not a. Some people really like to dig into people who do it because it's I don't know. It's like anything else. It's like if you listen to people talking, I guess, if that's a thing you do. For example, if you listen to podcasts and whatnot, then I guess you get kind of... Or if speech is your main breadwinner, like, if you're a comedian. And by the way, so you combine the powers of observation, the art of speech, and also having to, like, talk about things you observe. Then, yeah, when you hear peculiarities of speech, I suppose it's going to stand out, and then you'll have a good laugh, and then it'll make the rounds of comedians, and then vocal fry will be funny for,
It would be. But now, see, if you're making observations with the sole purpose of, because you're a stand-up comedian, so you want to turn something, into a funny situation.
If one were,
right, which we've discussed as I'm not a comedian, but...
No, neither am I.
I would take life happenings and I would, I would make, turn it into a joke. Case in point, I was on the phone with the wife a few days ago, and I was talking about doing this, and I said, I'm gonna make a joke. So let me tell you the joke, and if you find it funny, you either laugh, or if it's not funny, you don't, right?
Sure.
Okay. Now, dear listener, you have to understand that my wife's a big fan of me. Maybe not the podcast version of me. Not necessarily because I suck, but because this is what listens to on a daily basis. So if you listen to this on a daily basis, naturally, you're not going to find it as funny as if, you didn't hear me on a daily basis. So here's the start of the joke. So the wife and I are house shopping, and we came across this really nice house at the end of a dead end street, and it's not big, it's not small, it's kind of like in the medium, and it's the second owner. So now, according to the realtor's paperwork, the owner was going to be there while we were looking in this house, and I'm like thinking, okay, that's not a little weird, but okay, whatever. It's good having the person there because they can tell you things about the house, and they certainly let you look around the different rooms and whatnot because you got the realtor with you.
Sure.
So we knocked on the door, and this little old lady answered the door, and she had 7 cats. Now, the house wasn't tore up or nothing like that, but there's this little old lady had 7 cats. So the joke I was going to open up was, last Sunday I went to Grandma's house, and that's the joke the wife didn't find funny.
I see.
So I was going to tell my audience that we went to the Grandma's house.
Right. So whose grandma was it in this case?
Well, in this case, it wasn't my grandmother. I don't know whose grandmother it was, but I'm just saying because she's a little old lady, I just decided to call her grandma because that's usually what we call older people. We
Sure.
say, driving on the road. Hey, Grandma, find your gas.
Oh yeah.
You know, or yeah, can you move a little faster, Grandpa?
So oh yeah, sure, yeah. In the films in India, they say Baba,
Right.
which is like it's kind of like uncle, I think. I mean, I've seen it translated as uncle. I think it's like an older person. It's like saying hey, granddad or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, hey, pardon me, Baba, but they say excuse, whatever it is in English or Hindi.
But the wife did not find this funny.
Didn't like the house of seven. Sorry, the grandma's house of house of seven keys. It's like the seven keys to Baldpate
Well,
by Earl de Biggers. Sorry.
Well, what I find funny, the wife isn't going to necessarily find funny per se anyway.
No, I'm familiar with this concept. Believe me.
Right.
I am also married.
If I told the story before, I'm going to have to retell it because it's relevant. It's relevant to the story. So we have an Apple device as Tyson's biting his shirt.
I'm holding it in place so the camera can see. It says anti-social zone. It keeps it above the line there. I suppose it would be easier if I just tilted the camera down a little bit.
Sorry, it's a visual for you people who will see this in 2 years. It's whatever it's going to be.
2024.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, so stop me if I told this story before. But we have two Apple devices.
Hey, that worked. Like gangbusters. I just tilted the camera down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you have how many Apple devices?
Two. So we have one in the living room and we have one in the bedroom. So I have to tell one story to get to the other story. So the wife decided to buy me the Apple device for Valentine's Day. Okay, I liked it. Whatever, she liked it, and she mentioned she wanted one, so I got her one for Christmas. So that one's in the bedroom. So the wife downloaded the Disney Plus app, which is great because it has all the Marvel movies, all the Star Wars movies, The Simpsons. And, of course, it has nostalgia TV from the 90s. And one of the shows I used to like to watch was Gargoyles.
Oh, yeah, it has some of that. Yeah, I also have the Disney Plus app, so I know of what you speak. I have not seen Gargoyles yet, but I think it was a show my wife liked as well.
Yes. So, naturally, when I'm laying in bed watching TV, I always have the remote control so that I don't, in case it gets loud, I just turn it down so I don't wake my wife up, right? Mm-hmm. So, somehow I changed the audio without realizing it to Spanish.
Oh.
Okay. And it took a full minute for my brain to process that what I was listening to wasn't English, it was Spanish. Now, keep in mind it's a little funny. So I said, what if I changed it over to Star Wars? So I got out of the Gargoyles, went over to Star Wars, New Hope, and I just left it in Spanish.
Oh,
so now, yeah, so now C-3PO is talking Spanish, and okay, and I'm starting to build up to where I want to die.
Sure.
And then finally Vader came on the scene.
Well, I know what you speak, and it's not that Spanish is funny. It's just I bet that it was like it was probably a good translation. So it's like it still kind of sounded like C-3PO, it just wasn't in English. Like I don't imagine it was just like I don't think it sounded like me doing C-3PO's voice, where I'm just talking like this and being like whatever the Spanish equivalent of is certainly evaporators are one of my primary blah blah blahs, or the language. I'm fluent in 6 million forms of communication, except in Spanish. I don't think it was that. I imagine it was good enough that it made it really surreal. Like it's like this could have been in Spanish the entire time, and I wouldn't. Like, maybe I would have learned this in Spanish. And, wait, is this movie in English? Am I crazy? What's happening? Oh wait, no, it is in English. It's not the Mandela effect, is it? I'm sorry, what?
And Vader sounded like this. Hola.
Hola.
Dude, when he started talking, though.
I wish I knew enough Spanish to do Star Wars jokes or to do lines in Star Wars in Spanish, but I can't. I don't. Go ahead. Sorry.
So when that happened, now my hands in a fist. I'm like throwing it up in the air. For people that are watching it, so I'm throwing my fist up in the air, and I'm still trying not to laugh out loud because that's why I'm doing it, because I'm really seriously trying not to die.
Okay.
So So the wife's sleeping on her stomach, so she slowly raises her head, looks at me, looks back at the TV, and she's not registering at all what's happening. She's just seeing Star Wars, and I'm over here. I'm just holding it, and she looks at me again. She goes, "It's not fucking funny." He goes back to sleep. That's when I really died.
She was aware that it was in Spanish. Like it's not you were wearing headphones or anything.
She wasn't aware of it. It was in Spanish. She just saw Star Wars.
So it doesn't understand why you're laughing at it. Were you listening to it on headphones?
No, I was just listening to it. But when
TV.
she's asleep, she's not going to hear what she's,
That's funny. So she didn't know what was wrong with it. So it just was like, okay, for some reason you're laughing at Star Wars. And it was A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I rewatched Rogue One recently, mostly on a tablet, actually, because I have this little tablet that I've had for a couple of years now, and I put the Disney Plus app on it, and then it's like, I really like the audio experience of films, and I don't really get that very often, because it usually has to travel through the air to get to my ears, but, it's about like with it on a tablet, you can, Bluetooth it and then be like, or you can, non-Bluetooth. I don't know what that's called. Analog? I don't know.
Probably.
Corded. You could do it that way. But anyway, and, get the pure. Anyway, it's a really good movie. It's very different for a Star Wars movie. I enjoyed it more the second time. And I did not enjoy it the first time. It's just, it's such a different vibe. And then, have you seen Rogue One?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So, and then I finished it on the new TV. So that was fun. Newish TV. So I got to watch like the end battles and stuff on the big screen, but everything else was like I didn't really need to. Yeah.
Speaking of movies, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Yes, I heard that because I was catching up with Strange Times a bit. So I actually heard you mentioned a couple times on there.
Nice.
It's pretty funny.
It always is. It's hysterical.
I like how they explain your behavior. I'm using finger quotes as he's American.
Yes. Because they ask these questions, and then I'll basically ask the most random question that I can possibly ask, and maybe if I can. So
well, you create a whole scenario in your questions, though. I just want to be clear about that. I can't I don't want to do it here, but folks, if you get a chance, listen to Strange Times. I think it's episode Milk, and then it's one of the ones after that because you come up either a couple in a row or or anyway. So yes, you were saying.
I was trying to find...
Oh, Jay and Silent Bob, yes. They mentioned it on Strange Times. That's why I was like, oh, yeah. Cause...
I was trying to find one of those questions. Oh, I actually did find it. But if you think they should listen to it rather than me reading it, then that's that,
Yeah, I think they should listen to it rather than... Because it's... this is the thing, is if they have listened to this and then they listen to that, I think the context will be clearer and it might be funnier if they just,
True.
imagine you doing the question.
Yes, all my questions tend to come up with little scenarios.
At least the ones that I heard recently, yeah, they were pretty funny.
Well, yeah, they're all geared towards questions.
One of them actually specifically reminded me kind of the Tom Schiller, Little Schiller Vision short film of the Folgers commercial. Well, I don't know if it was a Folgers, but it was the hidden camera coffee commercial they did on Saturday Night Live with Chris Farley. Where it's like he gives the one, it's like sometimes the reaction isn't pleasant surprise. Sometimes it's like, and then it goes to Chris Farley, who has the worst reaction possible to being told that the coffee he's drinking is actually whatever flavor crystals. And he's like, what? And then he just he gets angry and tears the place apart, and we have to come in and hit him over the head a few times with stuff, and everybody grabs onto it. And it just, it was pretty funny. It's it becomes a horror movie suddenly. And that's kind of what I imagine with the guy that the one thing.
Dom.
So anyway,
like I told dear listener, I told Dom that he should dress like MC Hammer and do the moonwalk while requesting a sexual favor from his neighbor. So that's before this latest episode. So you'll have to listen to that as well because
I hadn't heard that one. Or either accents could have been so thick, or they might not have read that part. But it's like, because it was like, wait, that's very specific scenarios as well. It's like MC Hammer Pants doing the moonwalk.
Yes. Oh, I know what it was. So I told Dom to go to his next door neighbor, dress like MC Hammer, to request lube of some kind because Kevin Bus Stop wanted it in the rears. And if they look at him like he was an oddball and give him like that disgusted look, that's when he just like moonwalks away.
That's pretty funny. I mean, just it's a weird, like, it's absurd, and that makes it funny to me. And also, I'm trying to imagine. So, MC Hammer Pants. I imagine the big balloony pants is one of the parts that makes it MC Hammer.
Yeah, so it's kind of like MC Hammer and Michael Jackson.
Then like a blazer, like a blazer, but that's cut for like dancing, and no shirt on underneath, and then like sunglasses with the top squared off. I think is what I'm imagining as an MC Hammer outfit, because those are the things that I can remember, and I might be misremembering some of them. It's hard to say. Hard to say. That I know it was a huge album when I was in high school. That Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em.
Yes.
And then like Too Legit to Quit came like after that, and he was a guest on Saturday Night Live. He was the host and musical guest. Brought dancers. Did 3 musical numbers, I believe.
He didn't last too long, did he?
MC Hammer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think he had a good run. It was like, man, I'm going to say 5 years.
Wrong.
Oh, he had a run of 5 years?
I'm going to say probably 5. I feel like, well, it might have been 3, but I want to be generous because I also might have been, like, I didn't necessarily follow what he was doing after. My high school period was 4 years. I think he started getting big around 1 year into it, somewhere around 90, I'm going to say. And then like, somewhere around there, maybe even 89. So like maybe my high school years. And then after that, like he did Too Legit during all that. And then after that, I'm not sure. Like he did the Addams Family movie. That came out in like, I think 93 or something. No, that one came out in 90 or 91.
Yeah.
And the second one came out in like 93. So by that point, like, I don't even know if the end song was, it wasn't the end song in the first movie had hymns. So they do what they want to do, say what they want to say, live how they want to live, play how they want to play, dance how they want to dance, kick and they slap a friend, the Addams Family. Too legit, hey, too legit to quit. Too legit, hey, too legit to quit. And there's a whole hand movement that comes in, and I had to do it a couple times because there's a slight delay on the camera that we're using, so it blurs my fingers. But if I'm doing it slowly, it goes too legit, to quit. I just did the slow version, and those of you who will see this in 5 years will recognize it. Anyway. So Jay and Silent Bob, getting back to our original thing, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Is on Prime. No spoilers. Okay.
I watched it last night, completely funny.
You watched it funny?
No. I watched it last night, completely funny. So it's more or less a parody of every single movie he's ever done.
Oh.
But with the base being Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, except this is the rebooted version.
So it probably helps to be a fan of his movies, right?
Correct.
So, like, would it be safe to say that the average person, if they've not had much experience watching Kevin Smith's movies and didn't know much about him, would be completely lost?
Correct.
And, like, it probably wouldn't be as funny to them?
They probably wouldn't like it.
Well, it's good. It's a good thing he has a lot of fans, then.
Yes, because if you're a Kevin Smith fan, you will understand this movie's like the So I mean, it's like I said, it's funny. It's goofy, but a good goofy.
Well, I do look forward to seeing it. I just feel like I need to see a couple of. There's a couple of movies that are in the way because I like to watch things in order. Having not done that, Like before, I think I saw Mallrats before I saw Clerks back in the day. And I don't know that it necessarily hurt my experience, but I saw all the ones after that in order. It took me a really long time to see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And that got me kind of back into it again. There was a period there. This is all in like the early 2000s or something. And also, this is at the bottom of the screen now. Oh, okay.
No, I don't think it. Well,
there we go.
No, it wouldn't. Well, no, it wouldn't hurt your experience if you watched Mallrats first and then Clerks.
No. Yeah, it didn't really. I don't think it did. I did notice because they're set in the same universe, and that's when I started to notice there was a continuity or there was something that was going on, and I was really noticed it when I saw Chasing Amy. In fact, yes. Chasing Amy, it was the first one that I had anticipation for because I had heard of Kevin Smith and seen Clerks and Mallrats by that point. But I had not really known much about that. I'd seen other independent movies, like I think I'd even seen Slacker, the one that he apparently inspired him, by Richard Linklater. And a few other like independent movies. I was kind of getting into that, but like I had a lot of stuff going on. So anyway, when Chasing Amy finally happened, I was like, okay. I had read about it. I believe there was an article in Interview magazine, which was Andy Warhol's magazine, or I think Andy Warhol started it, or something like that. And I had like one issue, I think. I think there might have been an interview with Rose McGowan in it as well. I should probably find that. Anyway, cool magazine. A good article. Had a picture of Kevin Smith and a picture of Joey Lauren Adams and a black and white photo, kind of like on a swing or something. I believe they were, at the time of the interview, a couple. So that might have gotten mentioned or something. And I thought the idea of it sounded really interesting. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, so there's definitely a shared universe happening here. Like these movies, I don't know if they're happening in real life. Like there's kind of a heightened comedic aspect to most of Mallrats and even some Chasing Amy. But it's definitely in its own thing. It's like something's going on, and I kind of appreciated that. And then sometime after that, which could be anywhere within the last 20 years or whatever, I understood that there was something called the View Askew universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, it's all taking place basically in the same. Well, not Tusk or Red State or
no.
Those are all
definitely not Red State. No. Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, definitely not Red State.
It's a standalone. But wait, does Tusk take place in the same universe as Yoga Hosers?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Tusk and then Yoga Hosers. And then there's supposed to be Moose Jaws.
So now, and then as well. Oh yeah, there's supposed to be Moose Jaws. So okay, all right. Okay. If Tusk and that's the thing. So if Tusk and Yoga Hosers exist in the same space, I'd want to see Tusk first.
Yes, you would have to see Tusk first, because then if you watch Yoga Hosers, it would make no sense to you.
Oh, Zack and Mary, I believe, also not a View Askew universe movie.
Yes, no, it's not.
I believe it's not. Although it does parallel the experience of making making clerks in some specific ways. So that's kind of fun.
Well, they make porno films.
Well, but I mean, like the idea of them making an independent movie, basically, trying to shoot a film kind of secretly is, or get it done in, I don't know that shooting Clerks was a secret per se.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like they had to get away with some stuff to do it, though.
They filmed it at night.
Yeah.
But they got permission from the store owner to do it.
Okay, so yeah, it's not really like yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like a secret deal where, like they're just, here they are filming.
Yeah, like I was saying, I didn't think it was necessarily a secret, but, I mean, because, you'd want to, because filming the porno.
That would have to be secret.
That was a secret, certainly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, even though, if you, you've seen this movie, it's like 10, 11 years old now, Zack and Mary, I think it was 2009. There's a scene where a person walks in during a shoot and doesn't notice that there's a porn shoot happening.
Right, because he's too drunk. He's like, I need some coffee, son. Drive home.
Yeah, too drunk. Huck it, chuck it, football. Yeah.
Hug it, chug it, football.
Yeah, can I just say I have never been that drunk.
I've never been that drunk either. And I've been very drunk.
I mean, yeah, I've never been so drunk that I wouldn't notice a porn being shot in front of me.
Exactly.
But, that it's funny.
I've been drunk, but yeah, never been that drunk where, I would definitely not have noticed something like that's been going on in front of me, because this guy's just standing there and he's like looking over and then he's like, hey, I was at the football game. Hug it, chug it, football.
That is a pretty funny movie. Yeah, and I actually, now I think about it, that's when I started really listening to podcasts, was around that time, because I think I had discovered Smodcast by that point, and they had already done Zach and Miri by the time I started listening, but I caught up because I did that thing where I go back and I listen to the first episode and just kind of make my way through them. So I think by the time I was listening live again, they had already put out the Chasing Amy one, the special one. They had made a special one. I think that was number 97, which wasn't like just online for regular listening, because you're supposed to watch it or listen to it as you're watching the film, literally embedded into the film. But I think they had just done their first live one where they talk about Coal Miner's Daughter, and that's probably where I started listening as they were coming out. That sounds right.
And in 2009, dear listener, Hunter did not know what a podcast was.
2009 is also when I joined Twitter, according to Twitter.
Yes.
March.
I would have joined Twitter in 2000. When did we start talking? 2010?
2012.
2012? Okay.
Yeah.
So in 2012 is when I joined Twitter.
Cool. I think your Twitter would tell you. It would say member since or something like that, and I forget what it actually says. It says something, because it says it to me all the time. It just says it on my account that I don't even like. It says it on my it says it on the computer, the PC version of my.
Actually, no, we're both wrong. I joined May of 2011.
There you go. Well, I suppose I could look. I don't think it would hurt the.
Kevin Smith actually liked one of my tweets.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice when he does that.
Tweeted out, I said, OMG, Reboot is the shit. Well done.
Was that on Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you were just on Twitter. No, it was on Instagram. I just switched over there as quickly as I could. Profile. I'm not even sure why this is necessary for me to find out. Joined. It says joined. Joined March 2009. That's what it is. Yeah. Because that's what I did. I joined it. So I had a video come out recently. It was a video game called Reagan Gorbachev.
Yes, I've been watching that. I haven't finished it yet, but definitely watching Ronald Reagan run around with President Gorbachev, and he has his samurai sword, is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a funny concept. I mean, it's just basically a stealth puzzle game, essentially. It could be anybody, where one can do some things and another can do other things, and you have to control them independently. Well, you don't have to, but you kind of do. I don't know how far you got into the video, but let me just say that Gorbachev is a little trigger happy, and at least yes. in the video, in the video game, he is. I didn't do anything to it, but it could have been any characters, and the fact that it's Reagan and Gorbachev and it's set in this alternate timeline makes it funnier.
It is funnier.
Reagan with a samurai sword is hilarious.
I mean, the fact that it reminds me of an 80s video game is pretty cool in and of itself. Oh,
yeah. The pixel kind of, yeah.
But watching him run around with a samurai sword is funny.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't try to develop a Reagan impression for doing the video, because it seems like an obvious choice, but it's I think I used to go, well, and that was basically it. It was a one-word impression. It was just, well, and that's not really enough to there are people who are much better at it, It would have ended up sounding ridiculous. So maybe I should just go for it next time, because who really cares?
I mean, what's actually funny is that the video game is based on a Republican president teaming up with, I guess, whatever they call them presidents, right, over in Russia?
He wasn't the president. He was the premier. I think he was the last Soviet premier.
Yes.
Before they went to elections and a different kind of thing. And it was because there was perestroika and there was glasnost. And these things were like Reformation type stuff and transparency, like trying to have a more open dialogue between the U.S. and what was then the Soviet Union.
Yes.
And then it became the USSR, or the USSR was the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union, they broke apart, and now there was just, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
But
yeah, I don't know.
There was Russians back then, and what's funny is that it's Republican and Russian, and kind of like what we're dealing with now. But still a good game though.
Yeah, it was. It is a pretty fun game. They have the little quizzes in there, and actually, I said something that was a joke, and I don't know that if anybody got it because it was, or knows that I was joking, because I tend to be really dry sometimes. And it was something about. I said that Gorbachev was governor of California at one point. And it was like a joke because it was Reagan, but it's like everybody knows that Reagan was governor of California at one point. Well, even people who don't know that Reagan was governor of California. Sorry, let me just take that again. Even people who don't know that Reagan was governor of California know that Gorbachev wasn't. So it's like, I don't know. But, and I only say that because I looked at the, I reviewed it after I, edit it and get it rendered to make sure that it's not like messed up in spots. And then it's like, so I have to watch it again. And I'm like, okay, that part might require a little explanation, but maybe not. Well,
and also too, most people who don't know is that Reagan was an actor too.
Yeah, that's true. He was. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a Ronald Reagan movie.
I don't think I have.
There's a couple that I know exist. I think it was on a television show. I think it was one called Death Valley Days or something. It's a cowboy type. There was one where he's like, he's in the army, and he wears an army hat and the uniform, and it's like, I can't remember. It's not called In the Army now, is it? I mean, that's like a Pauly Shore movie. Maybe they're both called that. But there was one called Bedtime for Bonzo.
Bedtime for Bonzo.
Yeah, which was Ronald Reagan and a chimpanzee, I believe, and then another person. And I think that movie might have actually been rated G. So,
that's actually. I mean, it's not actually uncommon for an actor, I guess, to become the governor of California. Twice.
Yeah, I know, twice, right?
The second coming, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm your governor now.
Well, yeah.
Be back.
The Governator, people said. All that happened, by the way, while I was gone. Arnold being governor for however long he was. I wasn't here for that.
You were in Washington.
I moved to Washington, yeah, and it's like they elected Arnold Schwarzenegger the governor of California. I was like, well, this should be interesting, and yeah, apparently it was the wrong kind of interesting.
It's the wrong kind of interesting.
Well, it's like when that saying that they say the Japanese say, "May you live in interesting times." They're not blessing you when they say that. It's not like they're not being like, "Hey, good on you." May you live in interesting times is like, should be, may you live in relaxing and peaceful times would be a blessing. But
it's
anyway.
Well, it's I mean, as far as like Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, I mean, he's the one-line king of the 80s. The very short, I'll be back.
The one-line king, yes.
One king of the 80s, yes.
Yeah.
And kind of corny jokes, but I mean, like, he wasn't like a bad actor or nothing like that, but not so much a great governor.
I'll tell you, there was a contender for, like, okay, so between Arnold Schwarzenegger and, say, Freddy Krueger, because Freddy Krueger had a lot of one-liners as well. But then, like, it became the one-liner was the, like, was the relief after the death of a character in a film of some kind of fight. Like, then they just started putting Van Damme movies, and I'm sure Steven Seagal has, punchlines. And I think a lot of it probably came from the Die Hard movies.
Yes.
Yeah, Die Hard movies and Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Rambo. It's been too long since I've seen like the second movie. The Rambo, First Blood Part 2. No. Probably not. Those movies seem pretty somber by comparison.
They definitely are.
Certainly the ones I've seen. Like, I've seen First Blood, and I thought that was a pretty good movie. Serious movie. And then, like, I saw First Blood Part 2, and I really don't remember it. First Blood Part 3 or Rambo 3.
You know my problem with the Rambo character?
No.
Or maybe it's just Sylvester Stallone in general. Okay, all right.
What's the problem?
Watching Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Okay, obviously Jay mused in real time now. It is January 2020.
January 2020, yeah. January 23rd, 2020.
Yes, well, the 24th for me. So Jay Muse is 45, 46. Kevin Smith is 49 years old, okay? Now, the only thing that threw me off about Silent Bob this time was because, you expect to see Silent Bob being like this big fat boy. So, sorry, Kevin. But like, he was, he's not skinny. He's, he was large. That's the, yeah. So Silent Bob became like this big, cuddly, lovable character. And now all of a sudden, like you see in 2020, vegan, healthy Bob, skinny Bob. And that's kind of what threw me off a little bit. But I mean, for them to play their characters now is not completely like out of the question. But when you see like Sylvester Stallone, who's like 70 years old, trying to play Rambo, like, and not like, let's say he became like a general or something like that, so he's like in the suit and stuff like that. No, he's wearing what he was wearing, like, in Rambo Part 2, the black tank top and the long hair and the bandana. Sometimes you got, well, what was that? You want to be war, you got to live war, whatever the hell that saying was.
I don't know. I don't remember the movie. It's been a bit too long since I've seen it. It was, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That's a good impression.
Thanks. Well, I don't do the Rocky impression because everybody goes to Rocky when they do Sylvester Stallone. I've heard Sylvester Stallone speak not like Rocky, so I try to do the one where it's not that.
Listen, Rocky is how I kind of, got my start, and, Adrian, I did it.
Yeah, I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with it. I ain't saying there's something wrong with it. I'm just saying, but see, now this is more Rocky, where he's like, it does this kind of, you got it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going or get back up. I can't remember.
Yeah, but the problem is I'm going to keep doing these movies even though I'm, 70 years old. And like, I got punchy in the head.
That's how winning is done. Yeah, so I don't, so you don't, do you not find him believable as a fighter, kick-ass guy in the Rambo movies, or?
Yeah, I don't. I see someone that shouldn't be doing it anymore.
Did you see the 2008 Rambo when he was 60 something? I thought he was pretty scary in that.
No.
That was pretty.
Well, I wasn't even referring to that, but like, because that's obviously fantasy, whatever. Same thing with Indiana Jones. That's why, Harrison Ford can continue that character.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm just saying that the mood-wise, the 2008 Rambo is nothing like the Raiders of the Lost Ark movies. Like,
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about as far as like being the age they are trying to still do these characters.
Sorry, yeah.
Just becomes a little ridiculous. Like take like the movie Rocky. That's the last Rocky movie that there is, and Rocky's like 70 years old. He's like, I'm gonna get back in the ring and start boxing again. No, I don't think so.
I was going Rocky Balboa.
Yes,
and he was 60.
Okay, 60, whatever, but still.
Well, it's important because when he did Rocky in the first one, he was 30. And his character it was a big deal that his character was 30 at the time because that's an old age to be a boxer and to try and, push ahead and go. At the time, it was certainly thought of that. I mean, this is before George Foreman, came back in his 40s or something.
Don't get me wrong, dude.
Yeah. But
You
it's always been about him being too old to be a boxer or to be a fighter in those movies. It's
60, he still looked phenomenal.
sure, yeah. He's an underdog. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit there and watch boxing. I'm not gonna watch a 60-year-old man get into the ring and be like, "Yo, come on, let's duke it up."
So you didn't see Rocky Balboa?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
He looked pretty capable.
Oh, I'm not saying he wasn't capable,
Okay.
but yeah, no, it just to me is not believable.
All right.
Now, when I watch Star Wars and I see like an old man Han Solo, that makes sense to me because who better to play old man Han Solo than Harrison Ford? He's the first guy that played him.
That'd be weird to have. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, just like for example, Billy D. Williams.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen the new one.
If you're gonna see like an older version of Lando Calrissian, who's better to play that than him?
Yeah, I'd like to see Lando Calrissian again.
Yeah. But as far as like Harrison Ford like hopping around the jungle on a whip and shit, excuse my French, but no. It's like those days are over.
Yeah.
I mean, just no, they're over.
I mean, I don't know. It's
if I'm sitting there one day and I'm watching a 60-year-old Kevin Smith and a 55-year-old Jay Muse, and they're reprising their characters, and
10
they're
years
standing.
from now.
Yeah, 10 years from now, and they're standing outside the quick stop, the RST video, the RSTV, whatever the RSTV or RVST, whatever.
RST video?
Yes, RST video. Thank you.
I think.
And they're just standing there in another type Kevin Smith movie. That was perfectly okay because they're drug dealers and they're not hopping around jungles or trying to get into the ring and beat people up.
Well, they might in the next Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Right. It's more convincible. It's more convincing.
So now I know that the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was meant to be kind of like was basically from Kevin's words that I've heard and say he wanted to do a cartoon basically. So it's got magical reality and it's funny and it's it's got some stuff that would never happen and there's like physically impossible jokes, etc., etc.
It's got a drop of cartoonish, kind of like cartoon magic in it.
Yeah, cartoon reality. And
it's got almost every single cast member.
So you're describing the new one, the reboot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what my question was. So is the reboot in that same kind of vein?
Yes.
Well, I'll probably like it. I mean, I do expect that I will like it. I just can't see it until...
But he makes references to every single movie he's ever done.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he always does that. Yeah. So, his life is a reference to other movies that he's done.
Well, when he was in, like, let's say when he was doing the movie Tusk, he didn't make obviously any references to that. But I'm saying since this is like,
well, except for the fact that it was the main character was a podcaster.
Yes.
I mean, not directly, certainly, but like definitely influenced by it. I mean, it's like it's like anything when you've got a person who has made content and they have a way of doing it. Even if they start doing it differently, they're going to. Apparently, if Richard Bachman is an example of, they're going to draw from similar kind of like parts of their psyche and whatnot, and that's fine. If they're doing, like, you can watch directors do something funny and watch them do something serious, and there's still aspects of the characters that poke through. And I'll tell you, one of the ones that really was different was Red State, because it didn't seem. It started off feeling like a Kevin Smith movie, and then it went weird sideways. Because it's got that have the sexual heavy dialogue and the long scenes of, or not the long scenes, but the discussions, the dialogue. He's very dialogue heavy, which is one thing. Like all of that was like, okay, well, this kind of seems like what one would expect, essentially, at that point, was, I think, also 2008. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
2000.
Huh?
2011.
Okay, 11. Cool. So, but then it goes somewhere else, and then it stays somewhere else, and like after that, you're never on. You don't know what footing you're on, and it's a very well made movie. in that regard as well as in general. It's just it becomes something very different. So it's what it's like. Now, was Tusk the one he did? Did he do Tusk after Red? I mean, obviously he did after, but did he do anything between Tusk and Red State?
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, I need to really. So it's like a real like Red State was really kind of a reset. It seemed like I'm doing something else now. And
Yep.
But Tusk was still, well, I guess the point is like I don't want to refute your point about him putting the jokes in, and I don't want to be trite about. I'm not trying to diminish what he does with his movies. I appreciate it. It's probably just more snarky for me to say, well, he does that in all of his movies because it's not accurate. It's not you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
and if I make the point that, well, Tusk is still kind of about him because there's a podcaster in it, it's like, well, fine, okay, but not really. And I acknowledge, no, not really. I was just being funny, but it's also kind of true, and it's also not true. So it's,
well,
it's not the whole truth.
No. Well, I mean, it's true to the fact that, he's been, up until that point, all he's been doing was podcasting. But, I mean, it also shines a light on the fact that people do podcasting now. It's because podcasting is a major thing.
Well, it certainly was.
Still
It
is.
still kind of is. It's definitely bigger than it was. I mean, it's podcasting is definitely more people know what they are.
Well, I think that one of the main reasons why you may feel that maybe podcasting is not as popular as, is because, first of all, podcasting takes some amount of work, as Tyson can tell you. It's not easy sometimes, and I mean, but it's not like an unfun easy. It's just that it's not like instant gratification, meaning like you gotta sit down, you gotta record, then you gotta edit, then you gotta promote it, and so it does require some work on your part. So it's not so. And then, of course, life happenings happen, and people can't commit to this sort of thing. But if you're really, if this is really your passion, you can always fit it into to your everyday life happenings. But that's why we always record a lot this way, in case life happenings happens. We have still content, and we don't lose the audience. Because I don't want to lose. It is 2020, ladies and gentlemen. We've been doing this for 3 years, and I don't refuse to lose my 2 crackhead listeners in the meth den.
Oh yeah, those 2 people who we don't know exist. I'll tell you.
What's funny? Because going into this, I realized that I was opening myself up to strangers, and strangers were opening themselves up by listening to what we had to say. So, I realized that we're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, YouTube. So the thing about it is I realized that we can either get good criticism, which I'm hoping we do get good positive feedback, or, once in a while we're going to get that negative, that one person that says, oh, you guys suck, whatever. So if they hear that I'm making fun of myself, then why would I care if you're making fun of me? You know what I'm saying? So it's that kind of mentality. So that's why I say, like, I mean, we could have a whole crap ton of listeners. I don't know. But that's why I always joke and say our 2 listeners are the 2 crackheads in the crack den.
Right. Who enjoy the things that we always talk about, rather than like we have some definite go-tos. Kevin Smith is definitely something we've talked about more often than not. Stephen King,
yes,
came up tonight. Also because of shared universe type stuff, though, like because his Castle Rock stories and whatnot, he's got things that have a shared universe. Oh, I can't hear you. What happened?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. No, I love the fact that Stephen King has like a shared universe, because basically a lot of his books are basically a shared universe.
The video games, do we talk about them sometimes? That's a big. Well, there's a lot of Kevin Smith. There's a lot of other podcasts. Like Strange Times. Bring up Succotash, Mark Hershon.
And yourself.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm already here, though, so, I mean, we don't really bring me up.
You're like,
I think I misunderstood what you were saying.
and I'm Tyson, and I'm Succotash. But Tyson's already here, so Tyson can't be over there and here at the same time. But what you people don't realize is that I, Tyson, can split myself and put myself in Succotash and put myself here in Antisocial Show. And because that's what Tyson does. So you listen to Tyson. Follow moi. Yes, that Tyson. Yeah, so that's I think that would be weird though if like, you know, you were able to just split yourself and like, you know, put yourself over an Succotash and yourself over here, and you know, kind of like gray matter from one of Stephen King's movies. But yeah, that's just me. Or both, sorry.
Like the dark half or something?
Oh yeah, or the dark half.
That was, I guess, to be split. Yeah, well, of course, we wouldn't want to do like literally half of my body over here, over there, because whichever side has my left side, whichever job has my left side is not going to get any work done, even less than the right side does.
Now here's the ever popular question, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know if you've heard Succotash before, but Tyson is the host over at Succotash. Now, I do listen to Succotash, so I know how Tyson sounds on Succotash. So now my question to Tyson would be, if you had a dark half, right?
Oh.
Would your dark half be on Succotash, or would your dark half be on Antisocial Show?
If I had a dark half, wow. I feel like it would need its own podcast. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that wasn't one of the options, but that's
You can call it the Chronicles of Dark Tyson, or the Chronicles of DT.
Chronicles of DT. The Chronicles of Delirium Tremens, or whatever. I've got the DTs. Well, that's about all the time we have for Antisocial Show. I'm Tyson Sainer.
And I'm Hunter Block.
Be decent to each other.
Absolutely. Peace.
Have a good time, folks.